But I warn you, if you make any further inquiries, or if you say a single word to anyone about what you have seen, there will be the most dire consequences for you and your family. Do you understand? Very well.
There are not many movies that can make you forget you are watching one while you are watching one. Movies that almost put a spell on you for 2 to 3 hours, where you are fully immersed in what can only really be called an experience. And then when it's over, you go, damn. Eyes Wide Shut is one of those movies. It pulls you in and hypnotizes you in a way that most movies simply can't. And just like its main protagonist, makes you feel like you saw something that you are not supposed to see. Adapted from the 1926 German novella Dream Story, Eyes Wide Shut follows Bill Harford, a wealthy doctor living with his wife Nicole Kidman in New York. Lucky son of a bitch, who starts freaking out when the day after coming home from an upper class party hosted by his wealthy aristocratic patient and friend Ziegler, him and his wife get into a heated argument, and she reveals to him, while they are blazing it mind you, that she had an affair with someone else in her dream. What? So when he learns about this, he freaks out and goes on one crazy spiteful adventure through New York to cope with the fact that he got cucked in his wife's dream. Damn. But it's the way the story unfolds, which gradually gets more and more extreme in the situations Bill gets himself into. He goes on a house call to a patient, and then the patient's daughter confesses her love for him.
I love you.
Right in front of her dad, who is literally dead right there in the same room. And she's married. Get a grip, lady. So he leaves and then gets assaulted by a group of frat bros. Then he bumps into a hooker called Domino, like the pizza, but he resists her advances and leaves. Then he walks into a random cafe and meets up with his old friend Nick Nightingale, so he can invite himself to a secret masked party in upstate New York. So he goes to get a mask and costume from this Russian guy's place and bribes him to open up shop in the middle of the night so he can get a mask and a cape.
$100. Yes.
But when he goes inside, he sees that the owner's daughter is being pimped out to these two Japanese guys. Huh?
I'm afraid that's out of the question.
Then he rocks up to the party where a group of masked elites seemingly fulfill their wildest desires. Huh? But because he's an idiot, outed himself in front of all the masked elites.
Get undressed.
Oh boy. But luckily, they let him go in exchange for this mysterious woman who weirdly sacrificed her life for his.
Let him go.
Then he goes home and sleeps it off. Then, over the next 2 days, nearly self-destructs into his own paranoia and confusion about the whole situation as he tries to piece together the pieces of the puzzle which are all hidden in plain sight before him. When I explain it like that, it sounds simple. But like all of Kubrick's films, the devil is in the details, and it's always what's behind the curtain that you can't see, which is always more interesting than what you can. It's such a weird, strange movie that glorifies speculation after speculation, conspiracy after conspiracy about the nature of its scenes and what its true intention really is. And after every viewing, there are always new thoughts and realizations that pop into your mind. It's insane. Is it merely a disturbing satire about a guy who gets blue-balled for 2.5 hours? Who is the man in the red coat? Is it about the fragility of marriage? Who is the masked man that nods to Bill? Is Bill being followed? Is it about the nature of desire and its potential consequences? What happened to Nick Nightingale? Did Kubrick make the film to make Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman divorce? Did he make this film to warn us about Scientology because he, in his wife's words, lost his daughter to Scientology? Why is Tom's tooth perfectly aligned in the center of his face? Is this what happens when you take the wrong turn a Balenciaga? Did that prostitute really just happen to die of an overdose, or was she murdered? Is this bohemian growth? Or is this entire movie just a subtle expose of the wealthy elite, which host sick, twisted parties on a realm the common man cannot even fathom? And when someone tries to speak out, they die under suspicious circumstances. Yes, what makes Eyes Wide Shut so special though is its very weirdly crafted dream-like atmosphere, and how it draws you into what is this nightmare blunt rotation scenario, which is what leaves you to question if anything was even real, in which Bill has one long night of exploring, who he is, what are his desires, and then ultimately declining into paranoia as he is forced to confront every stupid mistake he stupidly made the night before. Here's the thing, Bill is wealthy. He is a rich old guy. He throws around cash willy-nilly. He can bribe his way into places.
$100.
He rips up $100 notes like it's nothing. He is what most people would consider the 1% to be. But it's not until he gets a small glimpse at the top 1% of the 1% does he realise that he is in way over his depth, and is just a shock to him as it is to us. I've seen many horror movies. I've seen some very creepy and disturbing scenes, but no scene has evoked a strange level of dread in me that the masked party scene has, while still maintaining this dreamlike, hazy quality to it. There are just so many different interpretations you can ponder that it causes your mind to endlessly question and maybe even potentially overanalyze the details. I'll give you an example. It's never quite 100% confirmed, but it's alleged that this guy in the tricorn hat that nods to Bill is actually Ziegler.
Ziegler?
But I don't know for sure. Maybe he was actually the one to notice that he was an outsider and to test him further to confirm his suspicion.
Those were not just ordinary people there. If I told you their names, I'm not going to tell you their names, but if I did, I don't think you'd sleep so well.
You can't be 100% certain. I never really got the vibe that this guy was trying to save Bill, but really just test to see if he is an interloper. But you'll never be able to fully understand it, and you always fear.
What you don't understand? Dog.
The entire sequence is like 25 minutes long, but pacing wise, it feels like it's just 3 minutes, because it so perfectly envelops the viewer into Bill's shoes that you just lose track of time with how fucking weird and mythical it is.
Please, come forward.
Its ambience, its vibe, and its setting is like a horror movie. There are so many subtle details that you completely miss because you are so caught up in the visuals and the way the scene is actually presented to you. The masked attendees. If you actually stop and analyze the masks themselves, each one is unique and tells its own story, which is just very eerie. Especially considering each one of these masks hides an elite or famous wealthy individual, which is clearly fiction and not ever representative of anything that has happened in real life ever. Actually, I don't know what I'm even talking about. This movie next. A lot of the masks are Venetian in nature. This mask looks like a plague doctor, which, the plague hit Venice pretty hard back in the 1300s. There's a Donald Trump mask. This mask, all the way back there, looks like George Soros. There's even an Illuminati mask. Bill outs himself partly because he chooses the mask of a commoner, the Volto mask, which accentuates the eyes, whereas the other masked members have the eyes distorted or covered completely. Thematically, the masks themselves are important to the film's narrative and have symbolic purpose. It's all about cover-ups, and it's about the lies we tell to each other. I mean, Bill was already involved in a mini cover-up at the start of the film, at Ziegler's party when a prostitute, Mandy, has an overdose, and he calls in Bill to see if he can save her the situation. Ziegler is shown to be a very wealthy and well-known individual with a reputation to uphold, so this would obviously be a disaster to his well-being, and it's just uncomfortable to me how he kind of wags his finger at her like, you didn't say the magic word, calls her kiddo.
That was really one hell of a scare you gave us, kiddo.
And she apologizes.
Sorry.
The audacity of this man. There's so many different thoughts and feelings that enter your mind as you watch this. The man in the red cloak doing this weird ritual with a staff and a smoking bowl and a chain. The setting itself, the mid-1800s Victorian architecture is just dazzling, but creepy at the same time. All of the exterior shots from the outside of the mansion are actually from Mentmore Towers, which was originally built for the Rothschilds actually. The ritual itself is a Christian sermon, delivered in Romanian opinion, but played in reverse, which is what gives it that strange, eerie feel to the whole thing.
Please.
The ringleader in the red cloak has this mocking, happy manner about him.
Get undressed. Yes. You will kindly remove your mask. That's unfortunate.
It's just so strange and weird. I love it. Personally, I went into this film raw. I had no idea what it was about. All I knew was that it had Tom Cruise and that Harvey Keitel left the project because he was frustrated with Kubrick's directing style.
Is that the Brooklyn in you, do you think?
It's a sense of worth in me.
So imagine experiencing this for the first time. I feel like it's easy to get lost trying to figure out the hidden messages of Kubrick's films, that you forget the emotional and visceral response you get from actually watching his films. The lighting is very aesthetically beautiful, while still conveying subtle insights into the theme of its narrative. It's not like conventional movie lighting, and it's not made to look or feel realistic. The cinematography and specific framing, staging, and blocking of certain images is extremely intentional in what it wants you to see. I actually don't think there is anyone that can make a movie like this anymore. It's just extinct. Like, you really just don't get scenes looking like that today. The use of colour is genius, and is what really ties the whole film together. Primarily you see gold for wealth, red for danger and desire. In fact, red being almost everywhere makes the whole film feel very claustrophobic at times. And blue, which is uncertainty or genuine unease. Throughout the entire film, you will see some type of combination of the three, whether it be people and places within the scenes, or directional lighting, like gold lit rooms or the blue moon illuminating the ground. It's really hammering home how it wants you to feel, and to some I could imagine how it feels kind of obnoxious with the obviously unrealistic lighting, but I say no. Again, it just adds and doubles down to that dreamy, even fever dream-like quality about it. So when daylight hits, it feels like the filter has been washed away, and it's more realistic in tone and atmosphere, and loses that dreamlike quality to benefit the conspiracy about what happened to Bill the night before. How accurate was everything, you know? You question if he is going crazy. It's like when you have a crazy dream the night before, but when you try and remember every detail about it, you get frustrated because no matter how hard you try, you can never get to relive it again in everyday life. From a technical standpoint, all of these elements feel both distant yet very in your face, hidden but obvious. It just makes you get lost in this one night fueled by spite and ego. It's not really something that can be put into words. It's something you have to experience for yourself. Eyes Wide Shut is simply a brilliant film. A film that is so visually memorable. One of those films that just stays with you in your mind forever, because it's the music that haunts you. At first, it's this bittersweet melody that introduces us to the upper class of New York. Then a hum at an alien-like frequency in an unknown language. Then there is this repetitive two-note rhythm which just pierces the soul, and not in a good way, and dominates the second half of the film. The characters in this film aren't really like real characters as much as they are archetypes to represent warnings for Bill. Warnings for infidelity, potential warnings for the future of his daughter if his marriage collapses, warnings for keeping or speaking out about conspiracies with no definite proof. The thing about Kubrick is that almost everything you see in the frame or the background is intentional, more so than other directors. This is not the New York you are familiar with, because it's not. Every exterior sequence in the city was shot on a soundstage in England, meaning that everything down to the buildings, the posters, the trash on the ground, the cars parked on the street, the extras are all intentionally placed there to look like that, for you to see, because that is the intention. Eyes Wide Shut is a film where every frame is a painting, every character a warning, and every scene a masterclass in atmosphere and tension. 1999 was without a doubt probably the best year for movies probably ever. You had The Sixth Sense, Toy Story 2, The Matrix, Austin Powers, The Blair Witch Project, Phantom Menace, Office Space, Fight Club, Lock, Stock, Two Smoking Barrels, Green Mile, American Beauty. I'm not done. Being John Malkovich, the South Park movie, 10 Things I Hate About You, Magnolia, The Mummy, Notting Hill, American Pie, The Iron Giant, fucking The Wild Wild West movie with Will Smith, and Eyes Wide Shut to really cement the year as one of the best in cinema history. And I kid you not, there really isn't another movie that will make you feel indescribable strange emotions quite like this film will evoke in you to feel. What an incredible film to top off a career, and it's especially funny that the last word from this prestigious director is
fuck.